For those that don't know, a Pro Solo is a unique kind of event. It actually kind of has some drag racing into autocross. There's a tree, they have clocks and timers to measure your reaction time, your 60 foot and your 100 foot. And thankfully the day before the actual event, they let you go do test rips. You can buy like 3 or 4 rips for like 10-15 bucks. And that is just from the start, you know, to the 100 foot, and you peel off. Needless to say, my first few were actually really bad. Probably like 6 to 8 inches of, once you hit the second light, of how deep or shallow you can stage. Theoretically, the deeper you stage, the kind of quicker your reaction time should be. Another thing is that they do at this event, you're not allowed to cut a faster than 0.500 reaction time. And cool enough, the Pro Solo pays you $500 if you're able to cut that time. This was my first event with the brand new 20G turbo setup, and if you want to see those results, check the link down below for my turbo setup. But just like as always, there's a little bit of drama when it comes to cars, so I dropped my car off with my tuner about a week or two before the Pro Solo. As he starts to tune it, the first rip, it's hitting hard and nasty, and the clutch is slipping. Now I'm like, shit, here we are a week out from the event, and I need a clutch job. Enter one of my best homies, Austin Sierra. I was scouring the internet trying to find something, you know, things are a little bit difficult, you know, we're kind of in the middle of COVID, and he was able to drop ship my tuner a clutch within 18 hours. It was the only clutch available nationwide for an ACT unsprung twin disc. Now I've always ran sprung discs, so I was a little kind of nervous to run the unsprung, but it actually ended up being the best clutch I've ever driven. The clutch is in, he's able to start tuning the car. Even my tuner, he was like, bro, this thing kicks like a motherfucker. He knocks it all out, and one day before the event, it is finished tuning and ready to go. So I drive to Houston, I pick up the car, and I literally leave Houston and go straight to the Pro Solo in Beeville. 500-mile braking clutch, say what? I also was on my TRE brand new 12-plate rear diff, but I actually did do the break-in miles on that. Also, a couple days before the event, I was signed up for Extreme A, and I look at how many people are in the class, and there's literally no one in the class. So I'm kind of like looking at all the classes and what kind of has the most amount of competition, and I see the R2 class, which is basically a PAX class for all the prepared cars, XP, FP, CP, DP, stuff like that. I was able to run the Evo in FP. That was my PAX, the FP PAX for the R2 class. I tow it to the vent, no hiccups whatsoever. It's time to put on a show and see what this thing can do. And by the end of run 1, I'm probably sitting, you know, 4th or 5th out of 6 people, just because I'm trying to learn a whole new setup to me. You know, 500 horsepower, massive, early nasty torque, and a brand new rear diff. Another unique thing about Pro Solos is it is very fast paced. You actually don't have very much time between your runs to actually change or mess with your tire pressures or adjust anything. You literally pull into one line, do your rip, and then you come back and immediately line up the next line, and you are good 4 to 5 cars, and then you're ripping again. So unless you got someone pit crewing for you, dropping your pressures right there for you every single time, you really can't mess with tire pressures or setup. So it's very unique that you have to pick your settings before you even start and just run with them for the whole day. So for a total of 3 sessions over the entire weekend, you get 4 runs each session. 2 on the left, 2 on the right, and it combines your best time from both sides to get your overall. If you're enjoying this style of content, make sure you smash that like button, hit subscribe, and hit the notification bell for future videos. Learning to pilot this thing in such a short period of time felt like I was trying to learn to pilot a rocket ship, and I only had about 200 seconds to do so. I did start to figure out the car, and my last run on each side, by the end of day 1, I was able to pull off 2 hero runs, and I was sitting in first place by the end of day 1 by like a good half a second to maybe 0.8 seconds. The other guy who is currently sitting second, Nick Grunler, he actually had some issues and lost his motor. He's got this super nasty chop top Miata, you know, gutted out, making like 300, 350 horsepower, literally no top to the entire thing. All it has is a roll bar over the whole Miata. And right after he had done 1 or 2 runs, he checks his sump and realizes that there's like no oil in his dry sump canister. I throw him the keys to my truck. I'm like, hey man, I got quarts of oil in the back of my truck. Run over there, go grab some. Unfortunately, still doesn't make it through his next run and loses the motor. At that time, he was much faster than me by like a good second, maybe a second and a half. So I have no doubt if his Chop Top Miata made it through the entire weekend, he would have won, without a doubt. Started day 2, I have 4 more runs, 2 on the left side and 2 on the right side. And here I'm really starting to figure out the car. I'm launching good. I'm getting great 60-second foots. I'm getting great 100 foots. My reaction times are still okay. They could be better, but for my first time ever, I was doing pretty decent. On my last run on the right side, it felt flawless. I'm coming in, and I come in and I look at the timer, and it shows like 99 seconds. So there was a timing error. I'm like, whoa, 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 hold up. So I go over to the timing booth. I'm like, hey, you know, that last run, there's no way it was a 99. That's like 3 times what I normally do. Like, okay, yeah, you get a rerun. And then there's kind of a little bit of an issue on the track. It slows down or something. And as I'm sitting there waiting for my 4th and final rerun, the last run of the day, the guy who's currently sitting second, Tom Hall, in his really badass 240Z, big tires, you know, V8, all that good stuff. I actually asked one of his buddies that was kind of near his car. I was like, hey man, can you drop my tire pressures for this last run? And he actually did it. I was really, really surprised that he helped me out, but that just goes to show like how cool the autocross community can be. You know, we're battling it out, but his buddy was still willing to drop my tire pressures. On that very last run, I actually have the radio on, and I'm listening to the commentator saying, I thought he had just bumped me off podium with the car right in front of me, and I'm like, oh no. So I kind of actually start to panic mid-run a little bit. I just drove the literal shit out of the Evo to get to the finish line. And then when I get to the finish line, I actually hear over the radio,
so Bailey extending his lead to 1.4 seconds over Tom Holt, making great use of that rerun on the right side.
A couple weeks go by after the event, and they actually finally post the official results. I go and look through everything, and I'm looking at the reaction times and the 60-foot times. When I was looking at the reaction times, the best reaction time I cut was a 0.648. And just like I told you guys, a 0.500 is the fast you legally cut without being disqualified. So I actually cut about a 0.148 reaction time. For my 60-foot, my best 60-foot was a 1.728, which I was told pretty good. So I looked through everyone else's results, and I was pretty surprised. There was definitely plenty of people cutting the reaction times in the 0.500, you know, to 0.6, you know, much quicker than me. But when I looked at the 60-foots, I actually had the 3rd fastest 60-foot for the entire event. The only other car to have a faster 60-foot than me was a Lamborghini Huracan. And there was 2 people driving this car. A Mr. Eric Anderson cracked a 1.723, and Eric Hyman, who was his co-driver, actually cracked a 1.667. So he was actually the fastest 60-foot of the entire event. Needless to say, I was really surprised in how the Evo did, how the new clutch was doing, how the turbo was doing, the new diff, everything was handling awesome. Definitely felt like it was a turning point for me when it kind of comes to building cars and motorsports, because it was my first respectable win I've actually ever gotten in autocross in the 7 years I've been autocrossing. Well, I hope y'all enjoyed the video. Make sure you check out some of the other videos, you know, build videos, whatever suits your soul. Y'all have a good one. Peace.